Hey everyone, I'm Black Lightning. What causes people to crossdress? People who have this urge to crossdress know what I'm talking about. I still believe women can get away with crossdressing, but men are still looked down upon for doing the same. I'm not referring to the observation that women wear pants because that's now conventional clothing for women. Since men are usually looked down for crossdressing, this may lead to some men wanting to purge their feminine belongings and get rid of their desire to crossdress, but it keeps coming back. So what causes this to happen? Does this mean you secretly want to be a woman? Is there some other psychological reason for this? I'll give possible explanations. To start things off, there isn't one specific thing that causes someone to crossdress. A person's reason to want to crossdress varies from one person to the next. It could be because you have a crossdressing fetish. This feeling of challenging social norms or doing something you're quote-unquote not supposed to do gives you sexual arousal. Perhaps you enjoy the fabric of women's clothing, or you could find being forced to be feminine a fetish. It's all fun as long as no one is getting hurt and everyone consent to it. A person could cross-dress as a form of escapism. There are societal expectations to being a man and sometimes they stress you out. Cross-dressing is a way to relieve this stress for some people. By presenting yourself in a way that challenges the societal expectations of being a man may lead you to adopt a feminine persona. Once again, this doesn't mean you have split personalities. It means certain conditions have to be present for you to express a side of yourself that you wouldn't normally express if these conditions weren't present. We think and behave differently in different environments, but all of our thoughts and actions in all of these environments makes us who we are. A person could crossdress because they feel it's a part of their identity as a man or a woman. These people are just expressing themselves and there's nothing more to it than that. Masculine and feminine clothing offer unique styles, so that's understandable. There are people who crossdress out of curiosity, wondering what it's like to be viewed as the opposite gender. How would people treat you if you happen to look very convincing? Will you like it, or will it be your first and last time crossdressing? Then of course, the ones who crossdress for fun. Perhaps you want to be a sexy nurse or a hot doctor and laugh it off with your friends. These are really broad reasons, and someone else could have a reason for crossdressing that doesn't fit these explanations. As I've said before, crossdressing doesn't mean you're homosexual. Gender expression and sexual identity don't always align. There's plenty of heterosexual people who crossdress, and crossdressing doesn't mean you want to transition into the opposite gender. You may temporarily identify as the opposite gender, complete with the mannerisms, a name, and pronouns, but this still doesn't necessarily mean you want to transition. So is it true that once you get the urge to crossdress, it stays constant and strong throughout your life? No, in fact, there are crossdressers who experience highs and lows in their desire to crossdress. This might be explained by crossdressing too much and then the desire lowers. People suggested that you should refrain from crossdressing for a week or two and the urge usually comes back. For those who haven't crossdressed before and have the urge to do so, there might not be a way to stop it. I searched on Google and checked out forums for crossdressers and saw no way of getting rid of this urge. People might be becoming more accepting of crossdressers overall, but not everyone lives around those accepting people. Things could get complicated if you're a heterosexual crossdresser and you have a wife or a girlfriend if you're a man, or a husband or a boyfriend if you're a woman. I hear more cases of men in this situation than women, but it doesn't mean it can't happen to women. This situation could be terrifying because you don't want your crossdressing to cause you to lose your significant other. I understand from the other person's perspective that they have a certain image of their significant other, and finding out that they crossdress will ruin that image. There are stories of crossdressers telling their significant other about it, and sometimes it works out, and other times it doesn't. My answer to this is compromise. If your partner don't like the thought of you crossdressing and you really want to crossdress, then why not set certain times and days when you can crossdress? You might be able to get away with crossdressing behind your significant other's back, but if you're caught, that will cause some trust issues. My advice, if you're unsure about your significant other's reaction, is to ask about their stance on it. Make it natural and use your judgment to determine whether or not to tell them. There are times when a person is okay with their partner crossdressing, but there will be times when they are not. So hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So why do I crossdress? I crossdress because wearing women's clothing is more fun and I like the way I can express myself when I wear them. Technically, they are my clothing because I paid for them. They don't belong to a woman. But the clothes were made with a woman's body in mind. If I want to try to pass completely as a woman, I'd wear hip pads, breast forms, and speak in a feminine voice. Then there are days when I want to present with my masculine body, but with feminine clothing on, wearing dresses, skirts, blouses, and feminine footwear without any forms to give me a more feminine appearance. I'd still wear makeup because that's fun, of course. Earlier on in my life, I questioned if this meant I wanted to be transgender. I really wanted to wear feminine clothing and present myself as a woman, but I didn't have gender dysphoria. I'm comfortable enough with my body to the point I don't want a sex change. I wouldn't want a complete feminine body. I know that's impossible right now, so it's a hypothetical scenario, but I do see myself adding feminine features to my already male body. For example, laser hair removal so I don't have to shave again. After thinking about it, I came to the conclusion that I don't want to transition into a woman because if they made skirts, dresses, and other feminine clothing with men in mind, I'd be happy with that. So I believe it's more or less about expressing myself as my reason for wanting to cross-dress. I could have a sexual reason if I ever do it for role-playing, or depending if the clothing itself was made to raise my sex appeal. Cross-dressing doesn't necessarily mean you're less of a man or a woman. What it means to be a man or a woman is diverse, and we have our own ways of being a man or a woman. The genders man and woman don't have a universal meaning. A society's social norms and ideas associated with these genders will not always align with another society. Yes, America isn't completely welcoming cross-dressers with open arms, and many people don't feel comfortable cross-dressing because of the circumstances they are in. The fear of how others would think of us, or you think it might cause problems with your relationship, is what holds us back. Of course, it's easier said than done to say, just be yourself and cross-dress, because it's hurtful to hear people you love and care about think less of you for doing so, or some asshole would think it's okay to harass you. I believe the answer to this is to find someone who will support you. Perhaps find friends who will help you. Also know the location you're in. Don't go out by yourself if the area is unsafe for crossdressers. So crossdressing is a wonderful experience if you're surrounded by people who support you and you really want to do it. There's nothing wrong with expressing yourself in this way, whether you're a man or a woman. If adding some percentage of cross-dressing as part of your identity as non-binary, then that's fine as well. Anyways, thanks for watching and take care.